Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's episode of Ferrum Football First and 10. I'm your host, Taylor Chitwood, alongside me my co-host, Brandon Roberts, and Coach Rob Grande. Coach, before we start, or to start off, I just happened to listen to the pregame interview that you did with Cable 12, and one quote that you said really stood out to me. You said, I think the question was, what do you have to do to win today, or something along those lines. And you said, well, we have to stick to our game plan. And at the end of that, at the end of the game, whatever it may be, if we stuck to our game plan, we can accept the results and live with it. And I think that really goes to show where the program is right now, and how the emphasis is on the development of the kids more or less than winning and losing. And I think at this stage of the athlete's life, the student athlete's life, I think that's a very important key. And I was glad to hear that.
You're getting deep on me in first and 10. I didn't realize I was giving that kind of message out, but it's what I believe in. I think it's more about taking care of what you do. Obviously, there's an opponent you got to face, and all the things that you do weekly to prepare for that. But too often do we get outside of things we can't control, and you got to understand somebody else is over there working, at beating you, and that's why you compete. And at the end of the game, you got to accept the results, good or bad, and you got to move on.
So, Coach, 81-0 last week against Greensboro.
Yeah, didn't really see that coming, but
I don't think anybody saw that one coming.
No doubt.
81-0. We held them to negative 11 total yards. And you said earlier you have never in your career done that for a team. What is the lowest you remember of holding to someone to?
Maybe Averett last year at 99 was about as low, getting under 100 yards. It's not easy to do, and there's a lot of factors to it, obviously, but it's definitely something that I'll not soon forget.
So moving forward, does that have any impact on your defense at all?
Well, you should have some confidence, but I think what they did Saturday collectively was execute a game plan and play 11 as one and do their jobs, which we haven't done in the previous 2 weeks. And the first two opponents, there's 10 guys can do the right thing and one guy not, and plays break on you. But no matter who was in the game, they seemed to be locked into what they needed to do, and had a good day.
Coach, on the offensive side of the ball, especially in the second half, fourth quarter, we got a lot of new faces in there, a lot of young kids that have been working hard in practice and able to show their skill set. I was impressed with Jones under center. Threw a few good balls there in the fourth quarter. How is his development moving, down the depth chart of being at the quarterback position as a freshman?
It's a big part of why we're implementing, Tyler English a little bit more in the receiving role is really because of what Titus has been able to show us in practice. And we had a JV game against Bluefield a few weeks ago, and he, functioned really well, made good decisions there, and it was good to see one of the byproducts of having a game like that. Whether it's for you or against you, if you have that ability to play some guys that you otherwise don't on Saturdays, and those days are always a little bit different than Monday through Friday, and it was good to see him come in and execute the offense.
Does that change any kind of depth chart with anybody that got a few more playing time or a few more minutes than usual? Do you expect any changes there, or are there battles heating up position-wise? What's going on there?
No, we're just trying to stay healthy and get the guys collectively on the field that deserve to be out there, and it's always, I tell our coaches, personnel is the number one job we have, taking care of the whole team, but then on the field, making sure the right kids are playing for us and accenting what they do well. And I think Coach Dawson, Coach Summers, and the rest of my staff do a really good job of doing that.
So, Coach, let's move ahead to Shenandoah this week. We got a tough opponent. They're 2-1. We're going at Shenandoah at 1 o'clock. Shenandoah is known for their offense a little bit. They have scored 38 points at least in every single game this year. And, we're moving ahead. Our defense gave up negative 11 last week, so our defense is doing very well. In this game, what is going to be the main role of stopping their offense and allowing our defense to do what we did last week?
Well, to do what we did last week, I don't think is something that we anticipate. And, I've told our team, our season is really a collection of one-game seasons, and certainly one does affect the other, but the sooner we got out of the Greensboro mode and into the Shenandoah mode, the better we'll play today or this week. And I think sometimes when you have a bad loss, that thing can come up. You've heard the old saying that don't let one team beat you twice. Mm-hmm. When you have a big win, don't get so full of yourselves that you think you're going to go out there and just show up with a black helmet on and win a game. And I think our guys in the 2 practices we've had have shown the ability to move on to another opponent. And certainly there's some carryover, but it's a different animal with a 4-year quarterback who's a all-conference player. He's likely to be up for All-American and does a great job for them. So we've got a great challenge ahead of us, and our kids are excited about it.
Coach, Shenandoah is averaging 531 yards a game, but their defense is giving up 485 a game. That being said, do you want to be in a 7-0 shootout, or do you want to be in a 45-38 game?
Whichever one the 7 is and the 45, I'll take either one of those as long as it's ours and we win the football game. And I've never been much to predict numbers and that. Just every game's unique, and we want to do what it takes to beat a really good football team.
I think I knew the answer to that. I just had to ask. See if anything changed from week to week.
That's all right.
Keeping everybody updated.
That's good.
You always got to get that win. That's all that matters at the end of the day.
Yes, it does.
Are we making any adjustments in the secondary? With our linebackers, are we dropping back or moving them in the box? Are we making any kind of adjustment for that passing attack? Or
Well, I think you got to be a little bit multiple. If you're too multiple, you're not going to play well at what you do. If you're too generic, he's going to pick you apart because he makes great decisions and is a veteran. I mean, that's what you're dealing with. So we've got to be able to do a few things to hopefully disguise some coverages. But at the end of the day, we got to compete and we got to play well. And at the end, you can't dwell on plays that they're going to make because they're going to make plays. You got to get to the next one, and I think our team understands that, and we'll find out Saturday how well they understand that.
So, Coach, like Taylor just said, Shenandoah's giving up 485 yards a game. Is that going to hurt us at all with possibly Nick Pierce not being able to play this week?
It's a situation week to week with injuries with Nick's ankle. We're hopeful here midweek that he can get to the field and do some functional things. So it's undecided still where he's at with his ankle. But as I told the team earlier in the week, whoever's playing's playing, and by 5 o'clock on Saturday, no one really cares who played. They just care whether you won or lost, and you got to rely on some kids to step up, and that happens all over the country, and so we're not unique to that. But we certainly hope Nick's with us and playing, and that's certainly the plan right now.
Through the midweek, Coach, what are you more excited about coming up this weekend? Are we doing something really well in practice and we're excited to see it, or is it, same old through the week?
We haven't had same old in a month, so I'm really excited about having a schedule and being on
there we
point
go, there's something.
And doing the things that we enjoy doing day in and day out to get ready for a good football team. So that's the difference this week is the normalcy of a regular work week. So
it's crazy. This isn't normal.
Yeah.
This week isn't normal anymore.
No doubt about it. But we're excited to have a good Wednesday, and like I said, it should be a good Saturday afternoon.
No doubt.
Before we close out, we do want to send our congratulations to Zach Clifford, the first ever Ferrum Panther ODAC Player of the Week selection. With his performance against Greensboro, I think you could give it to a lot of people there, but Zach, under center, was the one that received it. You could give it to the defense, you could give it to the offense, you could give it to the core.
You can give it to Ferrum.
You give it to Ferrum. There we go. Ferrum, just, of course, Zach Clifford standing out. But congratulations to everybody all around, especially to Zach.
Some great balls.
Yes. Our next show is going to be October 3rd. We hope that you tune in to us. For me, co-host Brandon Roberts, Coach Rob Grande, we appreciate you tuning in to 1st and 10.